So the journey begins, our first game after Arsene Wenger has announced that he's leaving at the end of the season. And I tell you what, it went pretty well towards the end of the game. I mean, I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm still somewhat disappointed by the performance, even though we've won 4-1, purely because before Aubameyang came on, it was the same old stuff, wasn't it? It really was frustrating to watch. And the result, I think, is a bit flattering. I have to be honest. I have to be a realist. And I know a lot of people are just going to say, well, you've won the game 4-1, just celebrate it. You know, Arsene Wenger with potentially his third to last home game. Just enjoy it and celebrate the fact that you got the win. But it doesn't work like that for me. Today we saw a lot of the things that have been frustrating us for many, many years. And it's actually quite a good example. If we drew this game, let's pretend that Aubameyang didn't come on and change the game completely, which in fairness, you could say is down to Wenger. That change was a good one. But if that didn't happen, I'd be sitting here complaining, saying that we've drawn a game against West Ham and we were tactically inept, we were set up incorrectly. But in reality, Arsene Wenger changed it up in the last 20 minutes or so. Aubameyang came on, he quite literally changed the game. And I want to talk about that in a little bit. First off, West Ham, they're going to be fine. I'm pretty sure they're going to be safe this year, mainly because there are just teams below them that are really struggling and not able to pick up points. I think they're a little bit lucky. There was definitely a time this season when everyone thought that maybe, just maybe, they would drop into that bottom three and stay there. But luckily enough, you know, with David Moyes, they've settled down a bit and they will be fine. They'll be here next year. And Arnautovic has proved to be a great signing, even though I think he's an absolute idiot. Oh man, he reminds me of Zlatan. Now the difference is Zlatan can be cocky and egotistical because he's quite literally a Swedish legend. He's one of their best players of all time. One of the best players of all time in general. Arnautovic really isn't quite that good, but he's so cocky, isn't he? It's unbelievable. But he's a great player and he's done wonders for West Ham. He got his goal today. But ultimately, we scored 4. Let's talk about our first goal, Monreal. Once again, Monreal playing really, really well for us. I think towards the end of the season, when Arsenal have their Player of the Season awards, I'm voting for Monreal. I can't think of a player that's been better than Monreal this season, who's been more consistent. Despite injury, despite having a few spells out of the side, whenever he's played, we've been better. So, round of applause to Monreal. Wish we could rewind time and have him a little bit younger, because of course, he is one of the older players in the squad at the moment. Really nice goal. I mean, you would expect to see that from an attacking player, let alone a left back / left centre back. So really impressed with Monreal. Of course, then West Ham got themselves back in the game. They sat deep for the rest of that kind of period where we did hit them on the break quite a few times, but we just weren't able to penetrate. I think our lineup just wasn't correct today. It really wasn't until the big change, and that was Aubameyang coming on that left side. Iwobi came off. I still to this day don't know why and how he's still playing week in, week out. I don't want to spend another 5 minutes talking about Iwobi because it feels like I should rename this series from Operation Arsenal to Operation Iwobi. It's quite literally something I bring up every week. He's just so inconsistent. He had a really decent game against Newcastle, but today was just shocking. And this is a problem with Wenger. He shows too much faith in certain players. Iwobi is still young, yes, but he's had a lot of minutes this season. And if you're a young player getting that amount of time in the first team of a club that is as big as Arsenal, you would expect to see an improvement. But he's no better now than he was at the start of the season. And it's another reason why I'm glad that Wenger is stepping down, because a new manager won't take that. Iwobi would be dropped. Quite simply dropped. He's not good enough at the moment. And we should have started Aubameyang. I don't understand why he didn't start. Maybe there's something in the background there. Maybe he was a little bit tired. He can't play during the week against Atletico, so why isn't he starting? We saw the difference when Aubameyang came on. He quite literally changed the team and we scored 3 goals in the final moments of the game, which is just, it shows how good Aubameyang is, but it also shows how much of a bad decision it was to go with Iwobi, who I think just slows us down. I really do. He's not a wide player. He comes inside, his first touch is abysmal, his passing I think is one of his stronger parts of the game, but today wasn't up to par. A lot of his passes just went to no one. And he throws his arms up, he gets frustrated. I'm sure he's frustrated with himself more than anything. He needs to be a bit more confident, I think. It's a confidence thing. I think he He wants to try too hard. He wants to do better than he is doing at the moment. I'm sure he knows that a lot of Arsenal fans find him very frustrating to watch. Just inconsistent, and I'm sure he will come good in the future. Whether it's at Arsenal or not, I don't know. I think he could flourish at, a mid-table team. I really do. But at Arsenal, in his current form, no. Just please play Aubameyang instead in the Premier League. But talking of the Premier League, I think, with the 4-1 win today and the fact that Burnley have dropped points against Stoke, rip Stoke, looks like they're going down. What a shame. I think that means that the Premier League is pretty much over for us. We're not going to get any worse off. We're not going to get any better. I think we will be fine against Burnley. We'll probably get beaten by Man United because we always do. We'll play against Burnley and beat them. And that's the Premier League done. So I think we really are now on to the 3 big ones. The 3 games that we absolutely have to win and do well in. And that is, of course, the 2 legs against Atletico. And then the final, should we get there, of the Europa League. We have to win all 3 of those games. So I'm actually quite relieved that today we got the win and that Burnley dropped points. Crazy that I'm saying that. Who would have thought at the end of the season we'd be hoping that Burnley would lose track on us, It's craziness, it really is. So one thing as well that really frustrated me, this is before Aubameyang came on. I'm gonna draw exactly what I'm trying to explain here. So if I draw the box, okay, so this is the opposition's team box, the goals here. Obviously, you've got the 6-yard, whatever, okay? It's a rough estimation of the box here, okay? Not a very good drawing, but you see what I mean. This is how we set up when we're lacking width and lacking penetration. We have a player here, which is normally Monreal. We have another one there, one there, one there, one there, one there, and maybe 2 in there. So the dots are our players. And this is how we play. We do this. Over and over again. And then finally, there's a bit of space. We put it in there, and then we lose it. That is what we're no longer going to see. Now, yes, it can work. If you get the right personnel, the right players. Iwobi loses it every single time. Ramsey is really good at that. Giroud was fantastic at that as well. But it just feels like when Aubameyang came on, this wasn't a thing anymore. Instead, we were just doing this, cutting through. It was like a completely different game. We just managed to push ourselves through, and that's how we scored so many goals in the final moments of the game. I hate that. We've done it for so long now. It doesn't work anymore. Teams know that that's what we want to do. So what do? They just sit back in the box and they don't let you have any space. So we just pass it on the edge of the box constantly. Little 1-2s, little triangles into the box, lose the ball, restart. And it gets so boring. And I tell you what, we're so lucky we picked up the win because that is exactly what is wrong with this lineup, this system that we play under Wenger. And I'm so grateful that we're probably going to get a different system next year with the new manager, a couple new players. I'm sure we'll sell a few players as well. And maybe just change the way Arsenal play. We don't have to stay with this same system. It doesn't work anymore. It works against lower quality sides because they don't have the quality that, some Premier League teams have defensively. West Ham are a solid team defensively. They've done very well since David Moyes has joined. It doesn't work. It won't work against Atletico. The best way for us to continue, I think, from next season is to use the players we've got, which there is no Giroud now. We don't have a target striker like Giroud. We don't do this flicking balls in and, it doesn't work. We need to be more direct. We need to penetrate that defence a lot quicker and through lines. We don't need to be doing this constant around the edge of the box because we don't have the personnel as much. I think Giroud allowed that. I really do. Because he was so good at holding up the ball, flicking it on for another player. We need Aubameyang and Lacazette playing off each other, 2 up top maybe, with Ozil behind them. Bring in some wingers, bring in a proper DM, bring in some centre-backs and just do a different system for a little bit. I think it's going to be very difficult for teams to understand that we're different now. Every single manager, when they come up against Arsenal over the last 20 years, will just say, well, I don't need to look into Arsenal. I don't need to see videos of their last few games. They will play like this, and that player will be here, and he will be there. All we need to do is put 2 players on here, move into this area, and that's it. because there was no plan B. There never has been a plan B with Arsene Wenger, it seems. The only change in the 22 years that I can remember, as in a real proper change, and that's more recently, is when we went to a 3-4-3. Last season, I guess, was the last time he really did it, and we did it properly, and it did actually work quite well. That's the first time we've changed formation in a big way. Of course, over the years, we've gone from 4-4-2 to 4-2-3-1 to 4-3-3. We've done lots of different four at the back variants, but that was a huge change, and it was so not Wenger, but it worked. So why can't it work again? You know, maybe we do stick with a four at the back formation type system, but we just change the way we flow. We change the way we attack, and that will help. I'm sure we will do better just purely because other teams won't be able to guess what we're doing so well. But yesterday, guys, I uploaded 2 videos, one of them being my thoughts on who could take over next season. So if you want to go ahead and watch that, I'd really appreciate it, because I mentioned there's 3 managers that I really want to see, and I've been thinking about it again. The more I think about it, the more I think Thomas Tuchel would be perfect, but the more I realise it's just not going to happen. I'm really upset by the fact that PSG might get him. I think it would be a mistake to let him go so easily. Offer him double. I mean, Arsene Wenger's been earning an absolute, a crazy amount of money whilst not being so successful over the last few years. Just literally give Thomas Tuchel those wages. I don't care. Get the right manager in. I'm hoping that we go for longevity here. I don't want Arsenal Football Club to become a bit like Chelsea have been, a little bit like Man United were a couple of seasons ago, where they change manager too often. You know, it doesn't work. We need to do what we've done with Wenger. Not to that extent. I don't want to see our next manager here for 22 years. It doesn't work in modern football. You do need to freshen up every now and again. Every 5 years or so, maybe, would be what I'd expect to see. So this next manager cannot be a 1-year thing, a 2-year thing. He needs to have time. We won't be instantly successful. Well, at least I don't think we will. We just need to give him time. This is a different situation to Man United's a couple of seasons ago when, well, not just a couple of seasons ago, but when Fergie left, they won the Premier League that year. They had to go into the next season straight off the bat successfully. It didn't work out. Moyes got fired. I get that. I understand that. But this is a different situation. We're at a point now in our history where we're going a bit stagnant. Even if it takes a couple of seasons to get us back to some stability, a couple of years outside of the Champions League, whatever it may be, just give the manager time, give the players time. We've got a lot of academy players coming through. We've got a lot of great talent at this club that need time to flourish. And I think that that's what we need to do with the manager. Get someone, I want to say 40s, 50s. I don't want to see Ancelotti join, for example. I don't want to see anyone that won't stay for more than 2 seasons. I really don't want to become that club. That's the one thing I've loved about Wenger being at Arsenal, and that is that he's been a consistent figure, someone that's always there. And whilst that's actually been a bad thing in some ways, it's definitely a positive to have a club that's stable. And I would absolutely love to think that that's what we're going to do again. I think we will. I think we will be sensible. It might not be the right manager straight away. We'll give him, 3-4 seasons, and then we find the right manager. Who knows? Just don't go chopping and changing every 6 to 8 months. I don't want to see that. So 4-1, the Premier League is pretty much done. Now we move on to the big one in the midweek against Atletico Madrid. We've got a lot of Champions League games coming up as well that I'm going to be doing reviews of. So make sure you stay tuned on the channel. Make sure you subscribe and click that bell icon. But I will see you shortly. And I'm going to say this now. I'm not 100% sure when, but I do plan on bringing back the Wolves career mode over the next few days. We're going to do that Champions League season. And then I'm thinking of finishing FIFA 18 with a Sunderland career mode. They've been relegated 2 seasons in a row. So let me know your thoughts on that. It might be a great way to finish FIFA 18 for me. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. But thank you for watching, guys. And I will see you next time.